The sun is setting on pre-season testing coming up tonight. Who looks hot and who does not? The team managers give us the lowdown on the Qatar test. And a sandstorm may have scuppered the plans on the final day, but we're all set to go racing in 2021. A lot, of course, of the next 27 minutes, because as I mentioned, they're a long way down due to the conditions. Jack Miller's time set on Wednesday has him fastest overall ahead of the two Monster Energy Yamahas of Maverick Vinales and Fabio Quartararo. Morbidelli completes the Yamaha trio in the top four ahead of the second factory Ducati of Pecco Bagnaia. Aleix Espargaro completes a positive test for Aprilia in sixth ahead of the two factory Suzukis, led by Joan Mir, while Johan Zarco and Pol Espargaro complete the top 10. Valentino Rossi 11th overall after a strong finish to his test yesterday, with Takaki Nakagami and Stefan Bradl next up. The rookie pack is led by Jorge Martin in 14th, ahead of Enea Bastianini with the factory KTMs of Miguel Oliveira and Brad Binder 16th and 17th. Alex Marquez, who, as we told you yesterday, broke a toe during a crash, his fifth crash of the week. He was 18th ahead of Danilo Petrucci, with the Yamaha test riders sandwiching Luca Marini's Sky VR46 Avintia Ducati. Iker Lecuona in 23rd ahead of Danny Pedrosa and Sylvain Guintoli, with Lorenzo Savadori 26th overall. The third of the Yamaha test riders 27th, with Michele Pirro and Takuya Suda rounding out our 29 riders who we've seen over the course of 6 days of running at the Losail International Circuit. And as I mentioned, Jack Miller the fastest of them.
Yes, at the end is a shame because we still have some stuff to try and also try to make a long run like a race simulation, but the conditions were a disaster. Have a lot of sand, a lot of wind. Fortunately, we know the forecast said this. So yesterday, anyway, we did the important of the job, and after 4 days of test, the balance is positive. Especially on the last day, I was good. I was quite strong, and we improved day by day, and I think we are quite ready for start.
Over the past years, how would you rate your competitiveness? How prepared do you feel this season when looking back over the past 3 or 4 years with Yamaha?
Allora, it's difficult to say because after the race weekend, and especially the race is always different because you are all together, so you have some other factor for understand. But I feel good with the bike. I feel better than last year, and it's always difficult because I have a lot of riders and a lot of different bikes that are strong, but we are in the pack, especially with the race pace we are not too bad. So we will see. Now we have another 10 days training, relaxing, and try to arrive ready.
We look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Valentino Rossi pretty satisfied then at the end of the Qatar test. Are those thoughts shared by his team manager Wilco Zeelenberg? Let's find out. Let's hear from him now.
From our Michelin Powers League tire, and at the end of the first 3 days they were quite positive. Then we passed to the other 3 days of test, and the main thing is that riders they push more on the tire, so they put the tires under stress. So we saw, you know, a little bit some graining in the front. We saw some wear on the rear tires, but the lap time also we went down very quickly. We beat the lap record twice, and also Zarco he beat the speed record also in the track. So that means that the tires they gives you a good grip in the exit of the corner, and also when you brake. It looks like the soft front and soft rear will be the best solution for the race in this condition, because the grip, the feeling is there, and also the consistency of the lap time on the rear is very good for a soft solution. But also for riders more aggressive, they can go with a medium front and medium rear. So it really depends on the weather condition we will face in the race and the riding style. Yeah, the two specifications they can work for a good race. The conclusion is positive. The tire range from our Powers League tire it works. For sure, riders they had to try to find the best setting. They also to readapt to the bikes. It was the first time they came back on the bike on the track since last year.
Live pictures then from the Los Angeles National Circuit of Maverick Vinales' Monster Energy Yamaha, which with 2 minutes remaining, you don't get the impression that it's going to be revving up too much. Maverick Vinales, you can see, just stood in the background there with his arms folded. He's had a pretty decent Qatar test, hasn't he? And we'll talk about him a little bit later on. Michelin, though, deserve a big pat on the back, don't they, Neil? Because the lap times this week have been phenomenal. Of course, they've had the luxury of being able to have 6 days, or really 5 plus a bit of a half a day really today with the conditions to put some rubber down. But the point should be made, the lap times that we're seeing are as fast as we've ever seen around the Los Angeles National Circuit. But
some manufacturers like Yamaha, Suzuki and KTM, whereas Honda and Ducati initially had big problems basically adapting their bikes to that rear tyre. Also some of the riders, notable riders like Andrea Dovizioso, never really got the best out of it all season long. So yeah, it's going to be difficult for these guys to understand whether they've made big steps forward, because we've only tested this pre-season at one track. But I think that's going to be the key to how factory seasons pan out, whether they have got a bit more understanding of Michelin's rear tyre.
Tyre management, of course, plays such a huge key in deciding who the winners and losers are at the end of a Grand Prix. And it was fascinating with Jack Miller yesterday, speaking after his debrief about his race simulation. Now, we don't think everyone has actually had a chance to do a race simulation, because I think many had it earmarked for today. But Jack Miller spoke about his race simulation and spoke about a bit of a drop-off in the final few laps of his simulation, although he did make the point that he was running on his own, he wasn't running in a pack, so things could be very different. Are we perhaps going to see, in 2 weeks' time in the Qatar Grand Prix, first of all, a very close race, a big group fight, but also with that mindfulness of the Michelin tyre dropping off in the closing stages, people really managing early on, a bit of a cat and mouse game going on?
Yeah, it could be. We could see something similar to 2018, 2019, when Andrea Dovizioso got to the front, slowed the pace down to try and save that rear tyre, and basically we saw the front group bunch up as a result. So yeah, considering Jack's comments last night, I think that could be a real possibility. Yeah.
Absolutely, it could be a fascinating Grand Prix. It is going to be a fascinating Grand Prix because everybody looks competitive at the moment at the Los Angeles National Circuit. Let's take a look at how it finished then. The checkered flag has officially fallen on pre-season testing, and Jack Miller heads into the first Grand Prix of the season as the rider theoretically to beat, ahead of a trio of Yamahas with Vinales, Quartararo and Morbidelli completing the top 4. Pecco Bagnaia, teammate to Miller, in 5th ahead of Aleix Espargaro, wrapping up a strong week for Aprilia in 6th. The factory Suzuki's led by world champion Joan Mir 7th and 8th, ahead of Johan Zarco and Pol Espargaro. Valentino Rossi ending on a high in 11th with his first ever sub-154 lap of Qatar, ahead of Taiki Nakagami and Stefan Bradl. Jorge Martin, the fastest rookie, but not by much, as you can see, a couple of hundredths clear of Enea Bastianini. Miguel Oliveira and Brad Binder, work to do for KTM in 16th and 17th. Alex Marquez, who will be hoping to be fighting fit in a couple of weeks after breaking his toe yesterday, in 18th, ahead of Danilo Petrucci and the first of the Yamaha test machines. Luca Marini, we'll talk about him later on. He's made good progress over the course of this test. 21st for him, ahead of the next Yamaha test bike, with Iker Lecuona and Danny Pedrosa on their KTMs, 23rd and 24th. Sylvain Guintoli was next up, ahead of Lorenzo Savadori for Aprilia, the third of the Yamaha test machines, with Michele Pirro and Takuya Tsuda wrapping up our 29 rider field, giving a very positive and very confident move without getting too confident and too ahead of himself. He knows that it's going to be a huge fight at the front of the field, but you get every impression that he's going to be right in the thick of it.
Yeah, that doesn't look like Jack has taken any time to adapt to his new surroundings whatsoever. He's been pretty calm, pretty relaxed, very upbeat and very content with the bike's performance. It seems that Ducati have made decent progress with the bike from last year to this year. I think they have a bit of a better understanding of the Michelin rear tyre than they did a year ago. They've got some new aero, which I think has been an improvement. Jack, I think, is able to ride the bike in a pretty impressive way. Luca Marini was saying earlier this afternoon, he was looking at Jack's data, he said he rides and he's able to turn the bike as though it's a Yamaha. Luke is still trying to understand just how he's doing that at the moment. So impressive stuff from Miller in that regard. One or two weaknesses still to iron out, I think, but considering the test as a whole, I think Ducati can be really happy with the top speed of the bike, as always. I think they can be really happy with the 1 lap pace. A little bit of work to do on the rhythm, but it's not just Miller that's strong in the rhythm. I think Pecco Bagnaia is...
Yeah, no, everything's done, wrapped up here. Yeah, we sort of knew this was coming, you know, from the weather forecast and everything, so we sort of prepared ourselves for it. I didn't expect it to be this bad, like we couldn't do any laps today, or we won't do any laps today, so... it is what it is, you know. That's why we did our race sim yesterday, and yeah, feeling at the end of the test, I feel satisfied. I feel like we've done everything we needed to do. As I've said plenty of times before, you know, I have a great feeling with the bike. I would have liked to have done a few more laps today, like another sort of maybe not have gone the full 22 laps, but at least another little bit of a long run just to understand the rear, see if we could get a little bit less of that drop at the end. But all in all, it's been a really positive, what was it, 4 days? 4 days testing here, and no, really excited to be heading back here in a few days for the race.
You know, we've spoken to Paolo and Davide over the past few days, and they've all mentioned what the atmosphere in the team is like. It just feels like there's a renewed energy there. Can you sort of feed off of that? Do you feel that it's really going to help you, not only for the Grand Prix, but throughout the season?
Yeah, I think so. You know, you've got to really enjoy the guys you work with, and we've got a great, like you say, atmosphere there in the box, and I think the boys are liking, you know, even down to the way, I mean, just bringing it back to when I started with them, sort of went out and did sort of the first couple of runs in the first test, you know, in the way I come in and sort of explained how the bike was working, and in typical Aussie fashion, a little swear word here and there, and I just watched all the engineers and stuff start laughing, and I thought, this is just a great way to start off our relationship, but I think they're really enjoying the atmosphere in the box, as I am too, and no, I think if you like what you're doing, it's always better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost easier to list who isn't a contender for the first Grand Prix of the season. It looks so competitive. This man certainly is one of them, Maverick Vinales on the Monster Energy Yamaha. And when we were to sum up Maverick Vinales' pre-season, we could almost sum it up in this very image that we're seeing right now. He is totally fixated on his starts. He's been practicing them throughout.
A frustrating end to the Qatar test. We've not been able to have any track action today, but overall, how satisfied are you with it?
I'm quite satisfied, honestly, because overall I think we accomplished the job. Was to try the new chassis, to have a feeling with that, and last runs of yesterday has been very positive for me. I found out a good rhythm, good balance on the bike straight away, which it's a good sign because we just did 10, 12 laps with the new chassis and the lap times came really fast. So overall I can say it's a positive feeling, but anyway we rest with our feet on the floor because we know on the race anything can happen. But we are very enthusiastic and optimistic about the result because we know we have a lot of potential behind us and we will try to find a way to put it into the race.
So you feel like you've made the decision on the new chassis for the season? It's going to be the new 2021 chassis, if I'm correct?
Yes, I think so. I think so. It will be the new bike because we found something more positive, especially for race distance, which is always good. I found a good consistency on the tires. But overall, the good thing for me is that straight away I was very fast, and this is very important, to feel good straight away, to don't have any doubt about the new chassis. And for us, this was the big job we had to do here in Qatar, so we accomplished that, and we end the test with the job done, and for sure optimistic for the race.
You have one of the best pace out there.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to be contending with you for victory?
It's pretty hard because you never know how the race is going to be. We know the Ducatis are super fast on the straight, so they will be a big rivals. But anyway, you never know. Maybe we can start first and push and open a gap. So we will see. It can happen anything. We have to have an open mind. We have to be ready for any situation, and we will try to give our best. For sure, we need to understand where we have to pass the other riders. We have few areas where we are very strong, like section 3, so we will see where we can make a movement.
Fabio, a disappointing end to the test with no track action today, but overall, how do you assess it?
Yeah, overall we can be happy. We have a great pace. Our one lap is great. So yeah, I think that we feel ready. I know with which bike I will be going on FP1, so we will just need to change a few things. Depends on the grip that we will have on the track, but yeah, I think it's positive test. 4 days, that was great. So yeah, can't wait for the race weekend.
The past few days you've been very positive around the 2021 bike. Can you confirm that's what you will be riding in FP1?
Yes, normally we will ride this one. Depends also on the engineer from Yamaha. So normally I feel great with that bike. A little bit better than 2020, but you know, it's only one track. Last year I said the same, and actually was not the great idea. So I prefer to stay more conservative, and we will see on the race. But for me, on that track, the new chassis is a bit better.
Your pace looks very good, but there's a few riders also with a good pace. Who do you think you'll be fighting for the victory in the podium with?
Yeah, I think Jack is really fast. He he's here. So yes, I think he will fight. You know, with we are struggling a little bit on the straight. They are really fast. So yes, mainly I think he's one of the top guy. But you know, testing is totally different. Like I said before, for me the grip is just will be so important. But there is many riders that can fight for the victory. We know that here normally is a group race. So yeah, we will see.
Just one last quick one for
Well, Fabio Quartararo then, a very, very strong week for him. He, as I say, finished inside the top 3, and he will certainly be well and truly in the mix. Most certainly on the Saturday night in qualifying, he's always very, very difficult to beat, isn't he, over the course of a single lap? And who's to say that he won't be right up there again on race night when the season gets underway in just over 2 weeks' time? One of the men that he's going to have to beat is the reigning world champion, Joan Mir. And Jack Appleyard summed up Suzuki very, very well when he spoke to us from their garage earlier on. Under the radar was the phrase he used to describe Suzuki. They were, over the combined times, they were 7th and 8th, Joan Mir and Alex Rins. But as we discussed earlier on, they've got that air about them, haven't they? Not a fear factor, but they've got that air around them that they're so strong, particularly in race format, that pretty much wherever they are over the course of a Saturday or through free practice.
Joan, the end of the Qatar test is a slightly different way that we all expected it to end. Overall, though, how happy are you with what you've done?
Well, it was a shame to not ride today because we were saving a lot of new tires to have for today and to make a long run, to make a time attack if it's possible to improve our lap time, and to work a bit more. I think that okay, we are ready for the first race, but 1 day of testing is something also that we need. So I feel prepared for the next race, and let's see on Friday. Yeah.
I know this seems silly to say as you're the world champion, but do you feel like you're under the radar a little bit for this first round? Everyone is talking about Jack with the all-time lap record, the pace of the Yamahas, but not many people are talking about Suzuki and you as much as maybe they should be doing. How do you see it?
Well, I think that we probably don't have the record of the track in 1 lap, but we are competitive. It's only testing. If it's not possible to fight for the victory here, we show that we can be stronger in every track, no? So I'm not worried about that. I think that I'm looking race by race. It's true that the pace of the Yamahas, all of them, they are quite strong, but we are not slow. So I think that we have margin to improve. So let's see.
Now that you've had a chance to see everybody in 2021, riders and bikes, who do you think will give you the biggest fight this year for that World Championship crown?
The one that will be able to be constant and competitive in all the races. That will be the key. Will be the key. We know that this track is especially good for the Yamahas and the Ducatis, and the one that will be able to be fast, strong also in the tracks that are not good for them. So that will make the difference.
It's a long season. There's plenty of races to come. Thank you very much, Joan.
Thank you.
Still seems pretty confident, doesn't he? Joan Mir doesn't seem to get flustered very easily, and he seems pretty comfortable with where he and Suzuki are ahead of the new season. He is certainly going to be amongst the riders to beat. Now, one of the fascinating subplots going into this 2021 season, and there are many of them, is the inter-team rivalry at Suzuki. There's always been a great harmony at Team Suzuki X-Star over the last few years. Will that be troubled, or will that be tested this year with Alex Rins looking to strike back against his world champion teammate, Joan Mir? Alex Rins has been right on the pace of his teammate over the course of this test, and at the end of it all, he spoke to us as well. Here's Alex Rins.
Alex, a different end to the test than people were, I'm sure, hoping for, including yourself, but overall, how would you sum up what you've managed to get through?
Yeah, we were waiting till the end to see if we are able to do like some laps, because for today in the plan we had planned to try again the possible 2021 chassis, and try to make like a small long run to see where we are, the sensations, the feeling, but we couldn't, no, for the condition. So I think we did a very good job these 4 days testing. So I feel prepared.
The race is what, 10 days, 2 weeks away now. Do you feel you're one of the favourites to contend for victory?
I don't know. For sure, I will push from the beginning till the end to try to be there. Let's see what we are able to do on the Grand Prix.
And you say you haven't made the decision on the 2021 chassis yet, or you certainly wanted to try it today. Is that something that you may have to look at doing during the opening free practice sessions, or do you feel you've got a base for round one?
I think we already get the pace to the race. Let's see how is the condition, the sun condition on the tarmac during the GP weekend. For sure, with more riders on track, Moto2, Moto3, it's better the grip level. So let's see. I feel ready and ready to go.
We look forward to seeing you back here in a few days' time.
Thank you.
Paul, a different end to the opening test with Honda. You even managed to get a few laps out there, though. What was that like with the sand spraying off the back?
I would not count as a lap. Riding like almost 10 seconds, it was like riding in wet. No, we were not pushing. Actually, I would say after this, why not? Successful test for us to end up with a crash by just trying to do high 55 in a bad conditions track. It was useless. So we end up doing a lot of starts. Also, is a part that I need to learn and we need to improve. So it was also useful.
Overall, though, would you say it's been a successful test? Your debut with Honda, maybe even surpassing your own expectations?
Well, actually, I did not have a lot of expectations. Maybe Honda, yes, but me as a rider, I was not expecting anything because it's the bad thing ever. It's the worst you can do because if it's going good, it's what it should be, and then there is no emotions. And if it's going bad, then the emotion is going down.
Miguel, first KTM. That's very important in a circuit that you are not fighting to be on the top because it seems KTM is struggling. What do you make of this statement?
Well, I think that we have done a positive days of testing. For sure, today would have been one of those days where we would have liked to have explored some other solutions about setup for the GP weekend. But it is true that we are struggling a little bit to get out the maximum of what we have right now. But you know, with no specific worry, we just need to analyze well what we did these days and come back ready for the GP weekend.
How do you see facing that GP weekend? How do you see yourself, your performance? With week's result, will you be happy with?
Well, I'm obviously very motivated because it's a start with a new team, with a crew that is very professional, and I'm sure that will help me a lot to grow as a rider. And so obviously everyone wants to start in a good direction and with a good result. That result at the moment we don't know which one is it, but we just need to come into the GP weekend and build our real expectation for the race. But I think it's for sure better than our position at the moment.
I'm very looking forward to the first race because, yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, today we had no chance for riding. Yesterday we lost a bit of time for trying new pieces, so we didn't make any improvement of the setup. At the end, I am in line with the other KTM guys, so and even the pace is not bad, but for sure it's far from the lead where we want to be. I'm very looking forward for the first race because I mean I have a clear idea where to go with the setup, and I want to try the bike with the new setup. Today we have had no chance, so yeah, I'm happy that I'm feeling well. For sure the bike got something to improve. Maybe this is, for what I understood, this is not the best track for the bike. So yeah, at the end the tests are finished and we can just look at the performance in the race.
Can you tell me more about that different setup?
Unfortunately, as I told you yesterday, we haven't made any big changes on the bike. But we did one move at the end that I suggest the team move, and we have another pair of moves that maybe can fit based on my experience of what I know. Fortunately, in the 3 days before of testing, with my experience and the experience of the team, we can work very, very well together, and we arrived to have the same lap time as Brad and Miguel. So yeah, it's just a question of weight balance, and yeah, for sure I have to set up a little bit more the bike for my weight, that is a little bit more compared to other riders. But yeah, it's a matter of weight of balance.
And what's the goal for the first race of the year?
For sure, the goal is to enjoy. For sure, one of the target is to be the best KTM and fight with them. For sure, Miguel and Brad are very, very fast. Iker also. So yeah, for sure, I don't want to stay in the back position.
Thank you very much.
Well, in the end, yeah, it was a big crash, making a time attack, something that they already said before to come here, that it's the time to also try these things and to try to be fast. So yeah, it was in my first tire, so you know, maybe too optimistic or pushing a little bit too much, but anyway, it was a small mistake, but cost small fractures. But anyway, I think in 10 days I will be already fine, already okay. Already yesterday I was feeling good, and I was like pushing the doctor to be today on the bike, because I already ride in Le Mans with one broken, and it's not a problem to ride the bike, and no problem for the other riders. But anyway, I think we need to be patient. Also today was not meaning to be on track because for the weather conditions, and I was not saying from yesterday. But anyway, I think that the test in general was positive, part of crashes and this, but I felt really good with all the team.
As you said, obviously this was a big crash. You had a couple of others as well. What's your confidence like at the moment?
Well, yeah, I had some crashes during this test, but from all the crashes I learned something. I was already, after a crash, fast back on track. I was able to improve my lifetime, so just this, the test is for this, to try things, to try limits, to try tires, and for addition also some crashes coming. That okay, for the future maybe need to control more this, but it's something to try, and you know, yeah, I'm sad for the team because they need to repair many bikes, but it's something that I will learn for the future, and it's better to crash in a test than in a race.
Just under 2 weeks before the first round now, what's going to be the plan from today to then to make sure you're at the highest level of fitness possible?
Well, the plan in the end is to be fit with the foot. This will be my first target because physically I already work a lot all this precision from January, from December. So you know, it's not something that in 1 week I will gain something about physically. I was again 4 days on the bike, so this is the best training that you can have. And now the target is to improve the foot, to be better in 2 weeks, to not see me with the clock. So then will be a good thing. So I will try to be fit and to be 100% for the first GP.
We look forward to seeing you walking into the paddock without the crutches at the first round, Alex.
Thank you.
Exactly right. It's about being consistent over all of them. But okay, if we had to go on just here, because that's all we do have to go on, and with the high grip levels of the last 2 days, you know, the Yamahas look awesome. Like, you know, they're like really, really good. The Ducatis as well of Bagnaia, and I'm talking about fighting at the front, you know, of Bagnaia and Jack Miller, amazing pace. The 2 Suzukis, I said they're dark horses. They're going to be there for the race, and the big surprise for me, Pol Espargaro. I think those guys there, if the race was tomorrow with yesterday's conditions, it's them that are going to fight for the podium, I think, second half of the race.
Super excited.